HTML presentation correctly for handling that. I will show you. For example, I will add another column. So div class, another column. Okay. In this, I will say another heading as categories. And I have a table here, table. For that, I will use the class table and a table hover. Okay. In this, we have head, tr, and th. So select category. This is just a table-like design. But actually here we have only one list. Later I will show you complex table also. You can see this is the category we are having. And I want to generate the table body. So we need to go to the T body. In that TR, this row should repeat. Then we have to use ng for inside it. ng for let item of collection. Collection is categories. And here we need a cell. In that cell, we need to display that item. So that means we need to generate a row. In that row, a cell will display the content. You know that directly row will not display the content. And it is general string. It depends on you can handle the projection. You just generate a drop down, you generate a table. You can generate like a checkbox list. For example, if I want to generate a checkbox list, then how to design that? You see, I'm creating a class because even I showed you 2-3 examples. So I showed you 2-3 examples. Many people come with again some more questions like, sir, how to do this, how to do that. In the iterations, I want a list of drop downs, I list a list of checkboxes, list of radio buttons. Everything is same. Use your HTML knowledge now. So, and through that HTML knowledge, you can present it. Why? Because that's complete HTML knowledge required to handle this kind of scenario. See, suppose if anybody asked like, I want list of checkboxes. If you want list of checkboxes, for example, I am creating an unordered list. And for this, I will give a heading as select category. Okay. And here unordered list. So we'll have a class called list unstyled. Now inside this, we have a list item. This list item should repeat. So then I will put here ng for let item of collection. Collection is categories. And here we need a checkbox inside list item. Then we use input type is equal to checkbox. Input type equal to checkbox. And here beside the checkbox, I need to display that item. That is as text for the checkbox, I need to display that item. That means now it is going to generate a list of checkboxes here. A list of checkboxes. That's all your HTML knowledge. That means you can generate a list of links, you can generate a list of checkboxes, a list of radios, anything you can do. Suppose here in the left categories list, all electronics, footwear, fashion, I want them as links. Suppose I want them as links. There is nothing special here. Just inside the list item, you need to keep an anchor element. And that anchor element will have href, referring to specific path, different paths maybe. And here you see they look like links now. That is completely collection of buttons, collection of checkboxes, collection of list boxes. It depends on your requirement. It's very simple and easy way of presenting the content, iterations, how you can configure. And very important is these iterations can be nested also, nested, depending on how complex data you are having. For example, you see, suppose I will keep the data a little bit more complex here. I will keep the data a little bit more complex. So what I will do is I will create another one. So menu. And menu is an array. Inside that, we have an object, array of objects. And every object contains category. So, and that is some electronics. Okay. And it have products. Products is again array. So little complex data we are having. So in that here we have some JBL speaker. So like some earpods. Okay, that is electronic. This is one, another category. So another category. And in this like footwear, and we have products. So, and the products is having some Nike casuals. So some Lee Cooper boot like this. This is the basic design now. So we have little complex data this time, fashion, and we have the products, and we have like shirt. So we have like jeans, something. Now I want this to be presented. But what is complexity here is, so it is a collection of objects now. Every item is an object, and object contains two properties. So one is string, another one array. This array requires again iteration. So now presenting this kind of content. So how we can do that? Here, simple. Let's go to the design now. So in the design, let me add one more row here. I will keep a horizontal line and I will add a div. So class, so row. In this, I will put here class column. And in this, I keep a heading, some menu. Okay, let's create an ordered list. In this ordered list, you see, I designed one here. And in this ordered list, I have a list item. I want this list item to repeat. NG for let item of menu. Menu is the collection. But observe here, this time this item is not a general string. This item is an object. You can see that item is an object which contains two properties, category and products. Category is a general string, so I can print it here. How to print item dot category? Because it is an object related properties you can access through this invoke operator dot, and we are accessing this item. Okay, you see categories list is displayed, electronics, footwear, fashion, the categories list is displayed. But under every category, some products are there. Then you know in HTML how to create a nested list. Now to create a nested list, you learned in HTML that inside this list item, you can keep an unordered list. This unordered list contains list item. This list item will repeat for every item. Remember, this time the collection is item have another collection called products. We have to perform iteration over those products. That means here we have to write ng for let product of item dot products. So that means item.category we are displaying, but item.products is again a collection, so we have to write again an iteration. So, and every product can be accessed here, and we can print that product. We can print that product. Now, this is how we can print the product and display. That means now here we are accessing every product and we are displaying that product here. So now suppose you have this list. So, and products is the collection. Okay. And you see it is adding those here. This is nested. That means inside the ordered list, we have an unordered list. You can create any level like that. Now tell me, is this type of nested presentation possible in a drop-down? What do you say? Is this type of nested presentation possible in a drop-down? What do you say? You learned about HTML drop-downs. Is this kind of presentation possible in a drop-down? So it is possible. It is possible. It is possible here. Why? Because you have learned in HTML that actually select contains an OPT group. You know this OPT group option, right? Select contains OPT group. OPT group, select have OPT group. In that OPT group, you can have an option. You can have an option. That is the reason I said that you need to think perfectly about whether HTML element have that ability or not. Have you checked it in HTML first? That means you know HTML is capable of doing it. That element is capable of doing it. Is that element having such option? Then based on that, we need to present. So that means now we have an option group, if you know that. So what I can do here now is, if I want to present, so then I will create another column here, div. So class, another column. And here I'm adding a heading. And this is again a menu. And select. Okay, this is like class form select. And inside this, you see, I'm writing an OPT group actually. This OPT group should repeat. So we have to write NG for LET item of collection is menu. Now, usually OPT group have a property called label. This label property will display item.category name. Label will display item.category. And inside this OPT group, you can have an option. This option should repeat for products inside it. Category we are displaying here. This option should repeat. So here we have to use again ng for. So LET product of item.products. And every product should display here. Every product must display inside option. So we are having option group with option. So it is possible with drop down also. You can see now it will display like this. It will display the list in this way. It will display the list in this way. This is the list actually. Electronics. In that we have JBL speaker, earpods. In footwear, these two. In fashion, these two. It can create a nested list. It can configure a nested list for you. It is possible with the help of drop downs. It is possible. So with the help of this, you can present in a table. So because tables also can be nested, you can create anyway. For example, You can use different HTML elements that you know. For example, let's add one more option here. I will add another div. So class column. I hope you know in suppose menu, you know in HTML we have data list. Now we know data list, data terms, data definitions. Not only data list, I hope you people know details and summary in HTML. Suppose in HTML, we have this details. I want this details to repeat. I want this details to repeat. That means ng for, so let, item of menu. And this details must repeat. And the details usually have some options inside it. That means detail have a summary. Detail have a summary. The summary contains item.category. Under that, I need to maintain some div or unordered list. In that, a list item. This list item should repeat ng for let product of item.products. And here we need to display the product. Now you can see that this is details and summary. And observe now the details and summary will be displayed like this. That means you have like this. Now in the menu, electronics, expand these electronic products, these footwear products, these fashion products. So that means it is going to repeat the details and display that. It's going to repeat and display the details. This is how ng-for works. And this is very important because everything when you are presenting and configuring in a real world data, I will show you with some real world data how we can manage that. We will use services, consume them, and we will see that. Here temporarily I am hard coding the data, whatever we need for presentation. We will pull from API. We will see how we can consume the data coming from your server side APIs and work with them. But initially, first we need to know the correct presentation, how we can present. So this is general data we are having. This is the general data. And I showed you some nested. That means a small array, and you have some array of objects with some nested collections configured. But not only this, in reality, so a lot of complex JSON type data comes. Lot of JSON type data comes. We need to access the data and use the data. We need a lot of JSON type data. And from APIs. So we need to use technically presenting the data and handling it. Now see here how we can handle tabular like data. I will clean up this now. Okay. And let's clean up all this here. So this is just point. Yeah. Now I will design some complex data like products. Products is an array. And here we will go to the assets folder. In assets already we kept some photos. Yesterday I showed you. And here I am adding objects, product name. So JBL, some speaker, the product price and some price, and the product photo. So which is in assets / we need to define the path. So that is some speaker.jpg. Like this, we have details. So we have name and we have some earpods. Yeah. And we have price and some price and photo. So these are the details. So assets. So this is earpods.jpg. So I'm adding some details. So name, some Nike casuals, and the price, So, and photo and assets, some shoe.jpg. Okay. Now in this, what happens is we need to present this. Again, the presentation depends on your requirement, as I told you. So suppose I have configured this like shirt and some price. So price, and we have some photo and assets, some shirt.jpg. Okay, we need to present this data. So let's go into the collection here. Now let's go into the UI. Now here we are defining presentation. So I will keep a heading. Here I'll say products table. Now let's create a table here. So suppose we are configuring the table. So I'm generating a table here. In this table, we need to present that. Suppose this is like I defined as some shopping cart like this, some option I defined. And here I'm adding a table. So class is a table and table hover. And in this T head, table row TH. So we have the name and the price and the product preview. And in the table body, so this is the table body. You can see this is what it is going to generate actually. And in the table body, we want a row. This row should repeat. So NG for LET item of products, that is the array. Now every item is an object with name, price, photo fields. So for every property, we need a cell. In the first cell, I want item.name. In the second cell, I want item.price. In the third cell, I want photo. Photo, we need an IMG for photo. So width is some 50, height is some 50. And source is dynamic. SRC is dynamic. It's a property binding. And we access item.photo. Photo contains the path. We are accessing that. And for example, now you see here, it is going to present the data and display. That means it is going to display the data in a tabular form and it is presenting the data. So if you have some complex data, then we have to configure that and we need to define that. The complex data. This is the complex data. And this is how generally we get the data from the database. We need to present it. The APIs will provide us. We need to consume and we need to present it. So you observe here, suppose we can add anything in the repeating. Suppose I added one more cell. In this cell, we added a button and a class as BTN and BTN some danger. So like this, so or say just BTN. And we given as some text danger, okay. And here we added a span and class is some BI and some BI like trash fill. So, and you can see that it is going to add a button here. So that is the delete button added there. So that means at the top, I defined some option like actions. So, and you see, so the actions, we have a delete button here, the delete button. We will see one example, how we can manipulate this, adding the items, removing the items dynamically. That we will see. So one example we will create dynamically how we manage. But here, first we are learning the presentation. Later we will do some manipulation on that. So this is presenting this data. This is the presenting it. You can repeat anything. It can be an image, it can be a text, it can be a button, anything you can configure that. So that means, so here, so suppose I'm adding, so one more cell. So I'm adding one more cell. And in this cell, I say BT text success, text success. And here I added something like trash I fill. So something like trash I fill. So, and here in the action, I will keep as call span as 2. And you can see that it will display one more. This is like preview. We can just add that. So there are so many options here. So bootstrap icons. So bootstrap icons. So we have so many bootstrap icons. We can use them. We can configure them. So I feel that's enough. That's enough that we can add that. That's like a preview. When I click on that, it opens the preview. I click on that, it opens the delete. So that is how you configure the content, how you define the content. So this is basically when you are trying to present the data. And it's not like you need to present like a table. It's your wish. You have learned all your bootstrap things also. You can present in different bootstrap component styles. So it's not just a table. For example, this is a table. So we learned how to design a table. For example, above, I will add one more option here is another heading as catalog. Catalog. And here, so suppose you know Bootstrap, if you already aware of Bootstrap. So I will keep a div here. And this class will have, so Bootstrap have an option called card group. We have a card group. And inside this, we are designing a class card. And we want this card to repeat. So that means now we have to write the iterator here, ng for LET item of collection is products. Now this card usually contain, so class card header. In the card header, I want to display the product name. So that means item dot name. And suppose I have a div. So this is class card footer, card footer. So in the card footer, in the header itself, I given a paragraph and I defined item dot price. In the card footer, I'm adding a button. So class BTN and BTN, some danger. And here I'm adding a span class BI. So BI and BI cart. So BI cart 4. So I'm using shopping cart, some cart 4. And I will write here as add to cart. Add to cart is the button. And the deflex, I'm using display grid, dgrid, display grid for the button. And I want an image above the card header. I will keep an image here. So image source is equal to, it will come from item.photo. And here we have defined the height for that as suppose 200. Width is automatically fit for that. And I will use the class as card image top that will fit the width automatically. And you can see that now this is going to repeat your bootstrap card component. And it will display all the cards in this way. So this is the card. Now below the shopping cart, I give this as suppose class margin top as 5. So I will push this little down and I put a horizontal line. Okay. And so that just cleanly separated. Okay. Now you see this is card. We are displaying the card like appearance here now. So of course, you can present in your own style. You can put in a flexible design. You know that these cards are flexible. So that means responsive. The bootstrap cards we are using here presenting such type of content. And you can use all your bootstrap component knowledge. Every card will have some margin. So margin 3. That means all directions, some space will be there for every card. That looks better. So I can put some space for that every card and configure that. So this is the way of presenting. So Angular will not teach you how to present the content. It will teach you how to iterate the content. Presentation skills depends on HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and you cannot be an Angular developer without this type of presentation skill. So that means you need to learn very much. So how to handle that, how to configure and how to define that. So technically, this is the basic approach of presenting the content. We will do some manipulations. We will see that. But here the key point is how to present the content, how we can handle and design the content. So if a lot of products are there, you know that we can wrap to multiple lines. We can display in one line because actually Flex will provide. So that means when you are using it, we can use dflex, means display flex. We can use like flex column, or we can say flex row. So we can use like a flex wrap. So we can use flex wrap. So all such things you can manage. All such things you can manage. Then you see when you have such flexible options here displaying, it will keep your content flexible and display. Suppose I written this flex instead of row, I said column, flex column. Then it will display the content one below another. But as per the contents that we are here, that means, see, width is not suitable. Suppose I defined here width as W25. That is the width 25%, and it will keep them like this. You can keep the contents like this. So it's depending on your requirement, how you want to present the content, how you want to present the content. So here we are defining that. So as a column, so I am defining as a flex row, and it will display that the row. And when you are displaying as flex row, so then we can add the other options also. Width 25 is not required now. Why? Because row will adjust accordingly. So it is going to adjust the content accordingly and display. In row, if you are spanning the content. This is basically how we present. Suppose if I am adding one more item into the collection, suppose I am adding one more item into the collection. So that means I defined here some jeans and some price. And here I changed that as jeans. Then you can see that new item is added into the list now. So that means we have a jeans.jpg. So it will get that and it will display. So remember, when you are using images, capitalization, extension, everything matters in Angular. So make sure that the images, when you are referring in your path, exact capitalization you are using, the correct extensions you are, capitalization also matter. That means make sure that the path that you are writing exactly matches it. The correct capitalization also you have to follow. This is the way of presenting the content, way of presenting the content. So different techniques of presenting our content. And this is what we need regularly, complex data. That's what we need, complex data. Now we have learned two things. One is we have learned how to use conditions, ng if and ng switch. We have learned how to perform iterations, ng for. Now, ng full attributes. You have just learned what is ng_for, but ng_for contains a lot of attributes. These attributes will be very important for manipulating the collection actually. ng_for will come with a lot of properties actually. We should not say attribute. So dynamically, we should call as properties. ng_for have a lot of properties. It have properties like index, like even, like odd. So like first, last, and track by. These are the properties of ng_for. So ng_for directive comprises of some properties. By using these properties, you can do more better with this ng_for. So what is the purpose of these properties and how to use these properties? We will see one point of what is the purpose and how do we use these properties. Because the ng_for will have these properties, we need to know about them. For example, index is a property. Index is a property which is used to get and return the index number of iterating item. You can get the index number of iterating item. So for example, so we have these items iterating. We can get the index number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 index numbers for those items. What is the advantage of the iterating item? So the advantage of accessing the index number of iterating item is you can manipulate that item, you can delete, you can add something new, you can modify. So you can do that by using the iterations. For example, suppose you see you have a button. Now I click on this delete button. So there is a remove button I designed here. I want, if I click on this delete button, I want to remove this Nike casuals. I want to delete that from that particular collection. I need to delete it. Then how do I know its position there? Because remember, it is not array position. Why? Because generally when you delete from here, it is removed, but it is not updated in the database. We don't have any database there. It is updated in array. Inside the array, it is going to update that. That means it is going to remove that. But actually, array index requires an option to identify the location of this particular item. Usually what you can do is, so to remove item at specific index, I hope you know in array, you have a function. Which function is used? Can you tell me which function is used to remove item at specific index in array? In array, you have array functions, right? In array, which function is used? So array have a, remove at, and if you want to remove from a specific index to several items, then from specific index to number of items, then which function? From specific index to several items, then which function you can use? I hope you know that we can use the function, array function called splice. Am I right? Splice. Yeah. Splice is the array function used for that. Yeah. So depending on your requirement, how you can configure. But we have to send the index number. You see here, this is iteration. I will take you to the table. In the table, just for your understanding sake, I will add one more column, index. And how to get the index? So in the table, you see there is one more column, index. How to get the index? Actually, this ng for have a property. You put a semicolon and declare a variable let I is a variable. Into that, you can access index and display. This index is a property of ng for. It is a member of ng for. It will get the index number of iterating item and it will store in I reference. It will store in I reference. So then I want to display that index number just for your understanding sake. I will put another cell. Here I will put that I value, variable I, and you can see all the index numbers are coming. You see the index number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, the index number will come. Now, if the index number comes, it is easy to handle that particular item from the index number. So what you can do here is, if you get that index number, then simply iterating index number, then on this delete button click, this is the trash button click. On this button click, so we will write a function here. So that means we will write remove click. Remove click is expecting index. Index is a number. So a parameter index as a number. And when it gets the index number, it should remove that item from the array. This dot products dot splice. We have the option, so splice. And the splice we are using. So start index is the index that you mentioned. And how many items from there? One item from there. That's how we need to define. That is the basic how we can remove the item. So one item from that particular index. Of course, before deleting the item, you can confirm, are you sure you want to delete? That means I can take a confirm. So is equal to, that means, so C is equal to confirm. So in the confirm, we are displaying, are you sure? Are you sure? So want to delete this message, we will display. And we will here, so a simple condition, if C equal to true, because confirm will return true or false, then it will delete. Otherwise, it will not delete. This delete should happen only when it is true. Otherwise, it should not delete. Okay. Now this remove click should fire up when user clicks on this delete button. That means when user clicks on this delete button, that means on click events are written in a parenthesis. Yesterday I showed you. And here we have to call remove click. And remove click is expecting index number. This method is expecting index number. It's expecting one argument, so that we will pass I, that is the index number of that item. So I is a ng for property, which returns the index number. And we get that index number and we pass that index number here. Now you can see here, so when I run this, you see here, I click on delete of, suppose, Nike casuals. I click on delete button of that. It will ask, are you sure you want to delete? I said cancel. It's not deleted, it's there. So I click again here. Are you sure you want to delete? I say okay. Then it is removed from there. And it is automatically updated in the list. It's automatically updated in the list. Now see, the index numbers will automatically adjust accordingly. Suppose I want to delete the jeans and remove that. Are you sure you want to delete? Then okay, then it is removed. Now you have only 3 items left. So technically, the ng provides an index property. That index property is very much important to identify the index number of iterating items so that you can handle various interaction on that. We can handle the interaction. We can do a lot of works. So adding the items, removing the items. That is index number. So configuring and defining the index number. Now, the key point is through passing the index number, we can identify its location. Similarly, you have odd even occurrences, first to last occurrences. These are also written true or false actually. Index is a number, even is a Boolean. Even, odd, first, last, all these are Boolean type. They return true or false. That means if the item comes at even occurrence like 0, 2, 4, then it will return true. So if it comes at odd occurrence in iteration, if it comes in odd occurrence, then we will have so odd true. If it is first item, then first true. Last item, last true. That means not just index, we can even know whether it is an odd occurrence item or even occurrence item, because based on that, we can apply different effects and styles. We can configure different styles and effects. That means for all even elements, one color. For all odd elements, another color. We can define colors, effects. We can do several bond manipulations for them. But for that, we need to understand how the styles are configured, how the styles are defined dynamically. CSS is defined dynamically. For example, you see, suppose you have all these items. So actually, let's go to the CSS file, iterations CSS file. Here I'm giving odd style. I'm giving odd style or odd. So for odd, suppose I given as a background color, some background color, I will just put some green, and let's put an RGB color for that. So light green. Okay. So, and we have even. So even the background color. So I given some red or say yellow, and let's put some RGB yellow for that. Okay. So RGB yellow for this. Okay, that's fine. Now the point is, generally, we need to know the even and odd occurrences. For example, in the presentation, this is the table we are presenting. Table is presenting. Now, in the table, you see you got the index number. Similarly, you can declare another variable. Let, some e is equal to even. Even is a property of ng-for. This variable name can be anything. Even is a property. It will return Boolean. You see, that is Boolean. That means it returns true or false. Similarly, suppose I defined another LETO is for odd. That means this is also a Boolean. It will return true or false. That means for odd occurrence items, it will return true, false, like that. So the point is, when you are defining that even and odd, you can apply the effects. Later you will learn CSS dynamically. I'm just roughly showing. Suppose generally we apply the class. So for the class, suppose if it is an odd class, that means the class name is odd. We will get the value from odd. We will get the value from O. For odd class, we will get the value from O. That's what actually we do. That means for odd occurrences, one color will come. So 1, 3, different color will come from odd occurrences. Suppose if it is a class even. This is the class name. Even is the class name. It should apply for even occurrences. That means we have to give E. E returns true if it is an even occurrence. For even occurrence, it will put another color. For odd and even occurrences, you can put different colors and define them. Means you can toggle between the colors and display. Effects we can do. That means we can identify whether the item is an even occurrence, odd occurrence. This E and O are accessing the property even and odd of ng for. These are Boolean properties. Actually, they return true or false. That means I am accessing the class and the class name is odd. That is the class name. Do you want to apply that class or not? True, false. You have to apply by using this Boolean. So odd, true. That means when odd occurrence comes, then odd style will apply. When even occurrence will come, even style will apply. Similarly, first, last, we can apply different colors and specify them. That means it can change the occurrence. It can change the occurrence. It can configure the occurrence and define. So for first, for last, first, even, odd. You see here, suppose just for your understanding sake, I will add one more odd and one more header even, just to see what value they return actually. At the end, I am adding one cell. Here we will display O that gets the odd value. And another cell, we will display E that gets the even value. And you can see that it is going to return Boolean true, false actually. So even if it is even occurrence, true. If it is odd, true. Otherwise, it is false. We don't need this to present. Just I am showing you. And based on that, we are applying the effects. We are configuring the colors. You can apply anywhere. It's not like in a table. Anywhere when you are presenting. Actually, so bootstrap classes also can be applied when you are configuring. Suppose here we have so let some E is equal
Recording in progress.
the class is not just event. Suppose write like BG primary like that. That is the class actually, BG primary. You want that primary color. You can apply like BG warning. You can apply ready-made bootstrap also. It will get that. Similarly, so if we have let O is equal to odd, that means for odd occurrence, so I'm adding one more class here. So we define class dot bg some info, and we can keep this O as odd occurrence. Then we can keep the odd occurrence and present that. So, right, and this is the option how it display. The presentation depends on your requirement. So you apply for the borders, you apply for the backgrounds, the contents, depending on your requirement. It's just a basic option to understand what even and odd occurrences. So why we need this even, odd, first, last like options to understand. And the track by, this is important. Track by
Recording in progress.
Okay. Tomorrow session, we will see now one example with combination of all these, how to put them all together in one example and see how we can present the content. Tomorrow we will discuss about that. Okay.